Good old-fashioned, natural, getting back to nature sort of stuff. I'm all for that.
Now, today is the 500th edition of the Gay Times. It's Europe's longest-running LGBTQ+ publication, having started up originally in the mid-1980s.
Well, how has it survived the test of time in the changing environment? Well, the chief executive, Tag Warner, is here. Good to see you.
Morning.
I mean, actually, it's quite a milestone for any publication, but when you look at how actually the environment has changed in the LGBTQ+ community and in society, how do you keep evolving?
Well, I guess, I'm looking behind me, look at Blair. That's how we kind of keep evolving. We're responding to how the community's evolved, how we're seeing LGBTQ people being profiled. And I think really Gay Times is about queer media centering queer people that exist around the world. And that's not always about queer people or LGBTQ people that find their way to the front each time. They're people of different experiences, different backgrounds. So I think that the reason that Gay Times has not just survived, but thrived in the kind of current era is by looking around us and featuring the kind of people that you see on the 500th issue that comes out today.
And have you made it consistently relevant? Because we've seen recently, Marie Claire just announced the end of print. How have you adapted but still made yourself relevant in an old format, really? Well,
it's a really good question. I mean, when I came into the organisation at the beginning of the year, Gay Times magazine was really the business, if you like. It really only represents 10% of what we do now. Understandably, most of our audience around the world interacts with us on social media, through digital platforms. It's really important that we still have the magazine. I think it's like a beautiful kind of flagship of the brand. But Gay Times is now a media organisation that interacts with brands and audiences in many different ways. So I think that we've adapted by changing to kind of what people look for and what they want. Some people like still reading a magazine. It's beautiful. It's nice to read. But understandably, digital and social has kind of prevailed.
What actually is the audience now? Because, I mean, is it pegged at a younger audience? Yeah. Is it so that... Because obviously you're talking a huge range of people within the community.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know how you peg that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gay Times really... We do have a kind of a broad appeal, but I think it's fair to say that our audience has become a bit younger over the last year or two. And I think that's exciting. I think for a long time, LGBTQ people, there was a kind of fear of talking around topics with teens and young adults due to the kind of sexualised nature sometimes of old gay media. Now that we're seeing much more focus on storytelling, amazing narrative, the experiences of queer people, it's exciting to see younger audiences kind of open up, understand who they are a bit more, be able to kind of interact.
See, that's the thing. People who are not within the community may think that this is still a bit sexualised, but it's a serious publication, isn't it?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're looking at Blair there. I mean, I think that when you look at the kind of people on the cover, we've got Chelaman, who's a deaf American Asian individual, Blair, an incredible activist for the Muslim LGBTQ community. I think that actually we're talking about really serious topics of conversation within publications now, and it's exciting to see that kind of like heightened nature of LGBTQ come to the forefront when, as you say, for the past at least, it was kind of a bit over-sexualised, if you like.
Do you think would it be fair to describe it as a campaigning publication? Do you see that as your role still?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really embedded in politics. I think even with Blair on the cover, let's say, of one of the issues of 500 that comes out today, that in itself is political. It's a really important thing to see a Muslim person of colour on the cover of a magazine profiled in such a way, and that magazine goes out to 80 countries around the world. It's not just people in the United Kingdom that will see this. So I think that in itself is quite political. But yeah, absolutely, we see it as our role to be involved in that.
What about the future in all of this? Because we are reaching it now. It may be a while off, but certainly aware of some young people now who have reached a point, which I think you'd have to agree is healthy, where they say, actually, I'm not putting myself in any category. Absolutely. I'm just attracted to who I'm attracted to, and that may change at some point or other. They're not necessarily going to feel part of LGBTQ, are they, necessarily?
Yeah, absolutely. We did some research, actually, that came out about a month ago, that over 50% of young individuals that kind of identify within Generation Z wouldn't necessarily identify as heterosexual exclusively. That's really interesting and exciting for us because we're now seeing, as you said, younger people kind of move out of binaries. They identify within terminology that isn't about their sexuality. It's much more about their identity. So it's really exciting for us to kind of start talking to a younger audience, I think, that are embracing who they are without labels a lot of the time.
Well, look, congratulations on
Thank you
issue
so
500. It's to 500 more. Whether you'll be about for that, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, you probably will go down as the youngest CEO ever. How old are you?
Yeah, 25.
CEO. I'm sure that will be in the
not
Guinness Book of
apologising for
Records.
it, yeah.
No. Flaunt it.
Gone right off you now. Tag, thank you.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Nice to be here.
Still to come.